What's up, guys? Victor here. It's actually my first video. Been trying to do this for a really long time. Just never really had any time to do it. Found some time today, set it up, and trying to get this thing started. Before we go any further, I'd like to send a shout out to one of my favorite YouTube video bloggers, Super Duper. I will be placing a link to his channel down below at the description. Because of him, watching his videos and stuff like that actually inspired me to get mine started. Seeing the stuff he does and everything like that kind of inspired me to do my thing. I won't be doing things that he does, but it just inspired me to get my channel up and running and try to get this thing started. So I'd like to send a cheers to him, you know, one of the best beers, 805 from here in California, Central California. It's my favorite beer, and he should try it out. He'll love it. And cheers to you, Super. Yeah. But yeah, to get back to my channel will be focusing more on MMA, UFC, Bellator, One, RFA, all these organizations that are out there. I will be covering a lot of the fights, a lot of the ins and outs of the sport, and my opinions on them, as well as what's going on. So yeah, I'm trying to get this channel started, see where it goes, see what it can become. I will also be covering professional wrestling. I grew up watching that. I'm sure a lot of you have. You know, WWE, WCW when that was around, ECW. Now we have AEW. We have New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is great. We have all these different organizations that are giving the WWE a run for its money. Excuse me. So I will be covering that stuff as well. And then we'll have some fun on here as well, you know, doing some kind of beer reviews and stuff like that. I have a lot of breweries around where I'm from. I'm from Southern California, so we have all these great things out here. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm trying to take this, and hopefully you guys like it. And yeah, let me jump into my first video. So I have a really big issue with the way the UFC is running things right now, with their champions and their interim champions, as they want to call them, not doing what they're supposed to be doing as a champion. We have these champs that, these contenders take the belt from the champion, or the champion, excuse me, they take the belts from these champions, and then they want to take a year off, or I want to pick and choose my next opponent. That's not how a champion is supposed to be presented. A champion is somebody who beats the best and continues to beat the best to prove that they are the best. So if you're the champion, you got to defend your crown against the next contender, the top contender, the number one contender. If you already have beaten that guy, then move on to the second contender. That's why there's rankings. I think the UFC rankings are a joke. All these fighters, yeah, they want a big payday, so they're trying to pick these big names like the Conor McGregors and the Nate Diaz's of the of the world, which is great, but then it kind of backs up these divisions, and that's where the UFC is right now. Their divisions, a lot of them are backed up, and then when that happens, when we have these interim champions, which means the champion, while the champion is out, we have them winning their interim belt and holding on to it and not defending, and holding on to these things like it's their ticket to the championship. I understand that. I get that. I respect that. But at the end of the day, it's an interim championship. You're supposed to be the champion while the champion is out. So you defend that interim title. You defend it against the next contender, I think the last interim champion that actually defended his title was Renan Barão, when he beat Michael Mayday McDonald, and he also beat Eddie Wineland. He defended his title, and then he was supposed to move up and fight Dominic Cruz, who got injured again, and so they couldn't unify the title. So next thing Burrell got promoted to undisputed champion. He fought Uriah Faber and beat him again, and then he went on to fight T.J. Dillashaw, who beat him. So it's kind of a situation with this sport that, especially in the UFC, where these interim champs are not defending their belts. They're champion. People call them fake champions and stuff like that. No, they're champion. They want a piece of the world title. So now it's time for them to defend it, just like the champion should defend it. And there shouldn't be an interim champion just because a fight fell out of a pay-per-view. It should be this, the champion's hurt, or for some reason he can't fight. So then we make an interim title, make it mean something again. Make it mean, it's a world title, so make it mean something. Like I said, right now the UFC's belts, they kind of don't mean anything. We have these champions that, I think Whitaker, he hasn't even defended his title. That wasn't his fault. Yoel didn't make weight, but he's hurt. Then we have two interim champions right now in the middleweight division with Israel Adesanya, and now we have Dustin Poirier as well. And well deserving, but now they sit out. Now we already have these champions that are sitting out, and then we have the interim champions sitting out as well now, that are hindering the division again. Now the division is backed up again. Now we have two champions that are not defending the belt. So what's the point of making an interim champion if it's then we have they just announced today Khabib versus Poirier in Abu Dhabi, that's a great fight. In my opinion, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Poirier's going to get hurt, or actually, let me change that. Khabib's going to get hurt. Conor's going to step in to fight Poirier, which he already has a knockout win over in the first round at 145. The UFC is going to put Conor in there so that they can set up, Khabib versus Conor to unify the lightweight title, hoping that Conor beats Poirier again. I don't know if that's going to happen because I think Poirier is on a different level now. But that's my opinion on what's going to happen. We'll see what happens, but that's my little opinion on the UFC right now and their world titles. We have, multi-division champions that win these titles. They go up and win another title at another division, but then the other title, they have to vacate it. I don't understand why. We have multiple division champions in other organizations, like in Bellator. We have them in one, and they are also defending both titles. They're not holding up the division. So how is it that one champion, you only have one belt in the UFC, and you're holding up the whole division, and then they go on to go fight for another title? So now two divisions are being held up if they do win it. I think it's a mess right now in the UFC. We'll see what happens. Hopefully Dana and them decide to fix it. But it is what it is, I guess. But that's just my opinion on the situation. Hopefully it gets better. They have a lot of great fighters that deserve to fight for the world title, that have earned the right to fight for a world title. And these champions are just wasting time, pretty much. And these interim champions, they're instilling these interim champions, and they're doing the exact same thing as the champion, and it's ridiculous. Yeah, we have a couple events coming up this weekend. We have UFC 238, which is headlined by Marlon Moraes against the flyweight champion Henry Cejudo. I have Moraes winning that fight by knockout, most likely in the second round. Cejudo's a good fighter. I don't really care for him. I don't care for his personality, and I really don't care for his manager, Ali Abdelaziz, or whatever his name is. The dude's a clown. Cejudo's a clown, but he's a great fighter. He's all right. I see Marlon beating him. I think the only way Cejudo could beat Marlon is by taking him down, holding him down. Cejudo did good against TJ. I think he beat a TJ Dillashaw that cut way too much weight. TJ was on those substance, whatever, EPO. and TJ was just cut way too much weight. I think TJ's problem was he was too overconfident, thinking that he can cut down to 125, and he got KO'd. Um, but I think Moraes got this fight. Cejudo beat DJ. Everybody's talking about how he beat DJ. The judges beat DJ. DJ won that fight. I was actually there for that fight, and Cejudo held him down. And DJ had one messed up leg, and he was still able to pop up. Cejudo held DJ down, and pretty much didn't do anything. The judges gave it to him. He's Hispanic. He's Southern California. It is what it is. But yeah, we have that going on. And then the co-main event, we have Valentina Shevchenko, the flyweight champion, versus Jessica Ai. I have Shevchenko retaining. I think Jessica Ai is a great fighter, but I don't think she's on the level as Shevchenko. Shevchenko embarrassed people at 135. I think her last fight at 135 against Amanda Nunes, I believe she won that fight, but it was very close, so it went to Nunes. She embarrassed Holly Holm. She outstruck a boxer. So I see Valentina beating Jessica Ai by unanimous decision. The real main event, the people's main event, is Tony Ferguson versus Donald Cowboy Cerrone. This is going to be a great fight. It's going to be a stand-up war. These guys are going to duke it out. It's going to go to the ground. These guys are going. It's going to be an amazing fight. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm giving my $60 to the UFC and ESPN just for that fight. I think Cowboy's going to edge this one out. I think a lot of stuff that Tony's going through right now mentally, I don't think he's there. I think Cowboy's been more active and his mind is a little bit clearer. So I think he's going to take that one. Then we have Jimmy Rivera, another bantamweight fight, versus Petr Yan. I think Petr Yan takes this one. The dude's been on fire lately. Rivera's also another great fighter, but I think Jan's going to take this one. Then we have a heavyweight scrap: Tai Tuivasa versus Blagoy Ivanov. I think Tai Tuivasa is going to take this fight. I think he's just an overall better fighter. Not taking anything away from Blagov. He was the former PFL World Series of Fighting heavyweight champion, but I think his fights in the UFC have been kind of lackluster. His last win was against Ben Rothwell. I don't think he won that fight. The judges gave it to him. I think Ben won that fight. I think he was actually outstruck by Ben in that fight, but it is what it is. You don't leave it in the hands of the judges. But he has the JDS loss. So does Tai Tuivasa. He has a loss to JDS, which is his last fight. But the dude is good. Tai's going to take that fight. And we have the prelims, which is headlined by Tatiana Suarez versus Amanda Nunes' fiance, I believe, Nina Ansaroff. Tatiana Suarez is on a different level. I respect Nina Ansaroff as a fighter. She's great. She has upped her game. She's beaten some great contenders, but Tatiana is just on a different level, and I think she's going to be the next strawweight champion of the world. I think, in my opinion, I think Rose Namajunas should get the automatic rematch against Jessica Andrade. But if she doesn't want it, then it is what it is. So I think this number one contender fight is going to be good. But I think Tatiana has a different level. I think she's going to take it. And we have another great bantamweight bout: Aljamain Sterling versus Pedro Munoz. And I think Pedro's going to take this with the KO. I think Aljamain's awesome. I think he's a great fighter. I think he could be champion. But I think right now Pedro is just, those hands he has, man. They're pretty lethal. So I'm picking Pedro. Then we have another women's strawweight fight, which is another great fight. Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Alexa Grasso. I think Alexa Grasso has a lot more tools to win this fight. I love them both. I like them both as fighters, and they seem like great human beings. But I think Alexa has a lot more tools in in the toolbox to take this fight. So I'm picking Alexa. Then we have Ricardo Lamas versus Calvin Kattar, that's gonna be a war, and I'm gonna actually have to go with Ricardo Lamas. Um, yeah, man, this is gonna be a great card. UFC 238, the UFC did it right on this one. They did it right on this one. Then we have Jan versus Angela Hill. Got to go with my girl Angela. I love Angela Hill. I love everything about her character, how she interacts with people. She's the bomb, man. Angela Hill is great. I'm picking her to win. So yeah, I think stand up wise, Angela's going to be a little bit trouble for Jan, but Jan, man, she's been on fire, Jan. You know what I'm saying? She's been on fire. If you guys watched her or don't know, if you guys haven't watched her, don't know who she is, go watch her fights. Get UFC Fight Pass or ESPN Plus and go check her out, because this girl is no joke. She's good, but I think Angela's going to take that fight. Then we have Bevon Lewis versus Darren Stewart. I'm taking Darren Stewart on this one. I think he's just I think, again, like I say, there's levels. You hear fighters saying there's levels to this game, which there is, and I think Stewart's going to be a little bit too much for Lewis. So we'll see. And last but not least, which I was surprised, just like Ariel Helwani was surprised to see that this fight was the first fight of the early prelims, which is going to be on Fight Pass. Caitlin Chukagian, which is ranked number 2 in the flyweight division, versus Joanne Calderwood. Man, this is a pick'em fight. This is going to be they're going to scrap, and the best woman's going to win. I'm hoping Joanne Calderwood pulls it out, because I would love to see her fight for that world title one day and actually become world champion. A lot of stuff that she's been through, when she was at strawweight, and also just in her life, it's a great story, and that's what Rocky things are made out of, For you younger kids, you might not know Rocky, the Rocky films, but I think for you guys, it's Creed. They're coming out with Creed. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a great fight, and I think Calderwood takes it. So yeah, that's going to be a great card. But like they say, it's the fight game. Anything can happen. We just saw Andy Ruiz Jr. Knock out Joshua for the world heavyweight title in boxing. I think that was great for their sport. I think boxing is an amazing sport, but that's what I started off in when I first got into combat sports. Was I didn't know about MMA, but yeah, boxing was my first sport. I trained and everything like that, and I think it's a great sport. I think they're kind of going the way of, let's try to pick these big name fighters to give them to put the sport back on the map. But it was great for Andy Ruiz Jr. to win, because it just showed you it doesn't matter who you are, you can do anything if you try it, And that's another reason why I'm here right now doing this podcast. Probably not very good, but it's my first time. I'm trying it out, doing what I want to do, and it's just gonna hopefully get better from here. If you enjoyed what I talked about, or my opinions, or whatever, you just want to hate on me or something like that, which I don't mind, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and like button, and I will be coming back with a lot more videos, and I'm going to try to get some, a setup going, because, I know you guys don't want to see my TV or my door. So hopefully you guys come back, and I will be coming back with more content, and I want to make this an actual thing, see where I can go with it. And again, thank you, Super Duper, for inspiring me to get on this and actually getting it started. And yeah, and UFC, please make your champions defend against top contenders. Stop giving them big names. that are not even in the rankings or whatever, and start making your interim champions defend their titles. That's what they're there for. That's what the interim belt is for. That's how they do it in boxing. Um, we have the interim champions in boxing. They even have diamond champions, I believe, for the WBC, which are similar to interim champions. They're defending their belts, and that's what interim champs need to do. If the champ is out, for an extended lay, then you have the interim champion defend his title against the top contenders, like Henan Barrow did. And if they're good enough to stay interim champ until the champ comes back, then they fight for the real world title. You unify, and then you get the undisputed champion. So it is what it is. Thank you guys for taking a view and taking a listen and hearing me speak and hearing me say Thank you guys. See you guys soon. Whap! Vic out.